earlier than expected, after the latest release of documents from the U.S. investigation of Jeffrey Epstein revived questions about his friendship with the convicted sex offender.
For the UK, we're spending the highest level of support.
Britain's defence establishment is under the spotlight after explosive revelations that Jeffrey Epstein's private jet landed at Royal Air Force bases multiple times over nearly 2 decades. The Ministry of Defence has now launched a sweeping review into whether military airfields were used during Epstein's visits to the UK. Defence Secretary John Healey has ordered officials to leave no stone unturned, demanding a trawl of records, emails, and booking communications to determine how the convicted sex offender gained access to restricted defence infrastructure. Flight records linked to US Department of Justice files show Epstein's Gulfstream jet touched down at RAF Marham in Norfolk and RAF Northolt in West London on multiple occasions between 2000 and 2019. One particularly sensitive landing took place in December 2000, when the aircraft arrived at RAF Marham, just miles from Sandringham. The political temperature rose sharply after reports suggested that senior establishment figures may have had proximity to those movements. The controversy deepened after former Prime Minister Gordon Brown submitted a dossier to multiple police forces calling for an investigation into whether RAF facilities were used to facilitate meetings linked to Epstein. Brown has reportedly urged law enforcement to examine whether official channels were exploited and whether permissions to land at military airfields were granted under unusual circumstances. At the center of the political storm is Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, who has previously denied wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. Reports say he was arrested last week on suspicion of misconduct in public office following allegations that confidential information was passed during his time as a trade envoy. Police forces are now reviewing flight movements and passenger details to determine whether victims were trafficked through British airports or RAF installations. The Ministry of Defence insists that it is standard practice for spare capacity at RAF airfields to be used by private or commercial aircraft, provided there is no disruption to military operations and appropriate fees are paid. However, critics argue that access to military bases is not routine civilian clearance. RAF flight logs are typically deleted after 3 months, meaning investigators are now combing through historic email chains and booking correspondence for any paper trail that could clarify who approved Epstein's landings